Hi class, today we're looking at chapter 4, lesson 4, comparing functions. So functions can be represented using words, graphs, tables, or equations. Learning the relationship between those representations can help you compare the properties of two functions, each represented in a different way. The slope of a line describes the rate of change of that line. You can compare slopes of lines represented in different ways. So let's start out with comparing the rates of change of a linear function. Which function has a greater rate of change? So if we were going to look at that, this one here, we see that we need to come up. So this one's slope is 4. The rate of change is 4. So let's look at this table. So let's take these 2 points and these 2 points. So we're going to do 8 minus 5 over 2 minus 1. And that's going to be 3 over 1. So this one's rate of change equals 3. So therefore, the 4, right, is bigger than 3. So this has the greater rate of change. Okay, pretty easy, right? Just find the slope. Go ahead and try this second one on your own. Come back to me when you're done. Okay, so I just took these 2 points, 3 and 13, 1 and 5, 13 minus 5 over 3 minus 1, got 8 over 2, divided that for 4, and so this is the slope of this one is 4. The slope of the second one is 2. 4 is greater than 2, so the first function is greater. And that is my answer. Okay. So comparing initial values of linear functions. Aki is trying to decide what baseball camp to attend. For each camp, the relationship between the number of days and the total cost is linear. Which camp has the greater initial value? So Bright Future Camp has it's $18 per day and $89 is the registration fee. Home Base Baseball Camp, 2 days cost $121. 7 days cost $236. So if we break this apart, according to the data in the table, there's a registration fee of $89. This is the initial cost. Home Run Base. So we've got to come up with a table. So we know 2 points, 2 days equals $121. So that means X is 2, Y is 121. 7 days equals 236. So let's find the slope. So we're going to take 236 and subtract 121 and put that over 7 minus 2. So 236 minus 121 equals 115, and 7 minus 2 equals 5. If we divide those, that equals 23. So that's the slope. So then if we put the slope-intercept form, so we go y equals mx plus b, that's slope-intercept form. We're going to substitute 23 for m. So it'll be let's go back. For m is going to be 23. And then let's take 2 points that we know so that we can solve for b, what the initial cost is. So if we did 2 for x, because that's how many days, and we know that it equals 121, that's the output, so that's where y is going to be, plus b. So we want to solve for b so that we know what the initial cost is. So 23 times 2 is 46. We want to get 46 b by itself, so let's subtract 46. Right now it's being added, so we're going to subtract, and that's going to equal 75. So b, the initial cost, equals $75. Okay, so slope was 23, 75 was the initial. So the y-intercept is $75. So since this first one, the registration fee for this one is $89. So if we compare those two numbers, 89 is bigger than 75. So the Bright Future Baseball Camp has the greater initial cost. And that is our answer. Okay, so see if you can figure this one out on your own. Steve's scooter rental charges $17 per hour plus $29 rental fee. Scooter World charges $48 for 1 hour and $108 for 4 hours. Which company has the greatest initial cost? See what you can do, similar to the one above it, and come back to me when you're done. Okay, so you should have got that $29 is bigger than $28. So see, Steve's scooter rental has the greater initial cost. And just to recap how I got that, I took the 1 hour is $48, so plug that in for x and y. 4 hours is 108. Subtracted 108 from 48 and I got 60. 4 minus 1 equals 3. I divided that out, got $20. I plugged that into my equation, y equals mx plus b, and plugged in the 2 points. You could do either point, but I did the 1 and the 48 for my input and output. And when I solved that, I got that b equals 28. So $29 is what the initial fee was for Steve's Scooter's place. So it certainly was close, but $29 is greater than 28. So Steve's scooter rental has the greater initial cost. Now let's look at comparing nonlinear functions. So Jack and Manny each have a savings account. The graph at the left, so this graph here, represents Jack's account. Manny deposits $500 and withdraws $20 each even numbered day for 30 days. Compare the function. So Jack's account increases and decreases. Manny's account just decreases because he doesn't put money in. Jack's account is not continuous. Manny's account, also not continuous. Jack's account, the maximum, so you can see right here, is 400. Minimum, the lowest, is 100. The maximum of Manny's, and it told us in this wording above, was 500, and the minimum is 200. They came up with the 200 by going, so if there were 30 days in the month and he withdrew $20 each even day, so that would be half of the days. So if there were 15 and we multiplied that by 20, it would be $300. So 500 subtract 200 subtract 300. Got ahead of myself. Subtract 300, because that's how much he drew in the month, would equal 200. So that's how they got the $200 minimum. Okay, so Vikram opened a savings account with $150. He deposited $150 every 2 weeks. Compare it to Jack's account. So this one is going to increase, right? It said nothing about taking money out. It just said it was going to deposit. So it's going to increase every 2 weeks. So that is a continuous. It didn't say that it was every 2 weeks for 2 weeks or anything like that. So the minimum is 150. But I don't know that we know what the maximum is. So maximum is unknown. Okay, so now we're going to look at comparing proportional, my goodness, I'm having a hard time saying that, functions. So bicycle racing. Arama and Francisco trained for a bicycle race. My goodness, we have some creative original names in the lesson today. The graph at the left, so this graph represents the distance Arama traveled during today's training session. Francisco's distance is given in the formula D equals 18.5 t, where D represents the distance in miles and T represents the time in hours. Who traveled at the faster rate? So this one is showing us that 18.5 is the rate of change. That's the slope. So we want to find Arama's slope. So we use 2 points. So we have 0.5 and 10. So see, this one's 0.5 because it's halfway between the 0 and 1 and goes up to 10. And then this one, if you come down, is 2.5 and 50. So here are our 2 points. So we're going to take the top ones, subtract 50 minus 10, and then 2.5 minus 0.5. And you get 20 over 2. Divide that, that equals 20. So Arama traveled 20 miles per hour. Okay, so right there, the equation D equals 18.5 t is the slope-intercept form. The slope is 18.5. So we can already see 20 is greater than 18.5, so Arama traveled at the faster rate. So now try this next one on your own. Jayla and Caleb are having a card house building competition. The function below represents the number of levels each person built. Who built at a faster rate? See what you come up with and come back to me when you're done. Okay, so I found the slope of each. Jayla's was 2, 2 levels per minute, and Caleb's was 1.5 levels per minute. 2 is greater than 1.5, so Jayla built it faster. So your homework for today is page 137 and 138, numbers 1 through 13 odd. Happy homeworking!